Hello, I'm Frankie.
And I'm Cheyenne.
And we are
Conbini Cult.
Today we have a very heavy episode.
Yes.
So we sound a little somber in our intro. So I'm just going to give you the trigger warning before we start anything.
Mm-hmm.
We will have some more lighthearted life updates, but this whole episode is on a very disturbing topic. Mm-hmm. So we're going to be discussing things like child abuse, abandonment, infanticide, and stillbirth. So if any of those things might make you uncomfortable or find it unsettling, then please feel free to skip this one.
Yep.
And we'll see you with a fun topic next week.
Next one, yes. Okay.
Okay.
Well, anyway, shall we get into it? I know your life update was kind of related.
Yeah, kind of related to this topic
Yeah.
because I'm reading this book, Coin Locker Babies, by Ryu Murakami. But you did have a baby recently.
Yes.
So
I know.
I'm sorry to do this topic when you have a newborn.
It's okay. I mean, it's a real thing that, happens here in Japan. And so it should be, discussed. And I've never really heard about it as much since, talking to you about it. So it is good to know information. My life right now is all about taking care of my newborn baby and just spending time with my baby. So I don't know, I'm kind of intrigued, interested, and also kind of nervous to touch this topic as someone who's recently had a baby. Yeah. Because I can't help but think of the things we're going to discuss happening to my own baby, right? And it's just really sad to think about, but I don't know, I think it'll offer some interesting perspectives, right? Between, about this topic between the both of us. So it's okay. We're here to give you the truth about Japan, but nervous laughter.
Well, your baby just got vaccinated, right? Yes, she got her first vaccination.
Yeah, she got her first round of shots. So she just made 2 months old, and that's when you start getting your shots here in Japan. And that made me really emotional because I think when you have kids or, just anything that you love, pets, friends, family in general, when you see them in pain. It really breaks your heart, especially babies, right? There's really nothing you can do to help them in that moment besides comfort them and hold them and stuff. But the hard thing is that they don't know what's going on.
They're just going about their day and all of a sudden ow, why did you do that?
Exactly. Truly just seeing her kind of all happy in the doctor's office and then we called them the witch. She just has this witch grab her arm and poke a needle in her, right? She doesn't know what's happening. And so it was really, really sad to see. And just seeing, my baby in a moment of pain like that breaks my heart. And like I said, I don't ever want to think about my baby in this kind of situation like we're going to talk about today. But other than that, she's happy, she's healthy, she's fine today. She's with her dad. If anyone is wondering why she isn't here as a special guest in, this current round of episodes, in the last few episodes.
This one.
Not on this. No. That would be way
that
too
would be
dark.
Very cool.
Yeah, that would be I don't know, call it dark humor or whatever. She did not need to be a guest on this one or hear about it anyway. No. But all right. You? Yeah. How's everything going? How's that book?
Pretty good. I'm about maybe a third, almost halfway through this book. So it is by Ryu Murakami called Coin Locker Babies. It's not a nonfiction. Okay. It's not I was going to say biography. It's not a biography.
Yeah, I thought you were reading a textbook or something about Coin Locker Babies.
No, it's not an academic text.
Yeah.
He is. So I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Audition, if you're a horror fan.
I have.
You've heard of it or seen parts of it?
I've seen parts of it against my will when I was really young because my older brother is really into horror and he was like, let's watch this movie, So everything I know about that movie was just against my will, very traumatizing for me when I was young. You've seen the movie.
Yeah, I've seen the movie, but of course it's based on a book from the same author, Ryu Murakami. So, I mean, it's a little summary of that story. I bought the book. I haven't read it yet.
Okay.
I will, maybe, after this one.
Yeah.
But basically, there's a middle-aged widower, and he has a teenage son, and he thinks, okay, maybe it's time for me to start dating again, but he doesn't know how to get back into the dating world. So he has a friend who is a producer who is like, I have a brilliant idea. Let's pretend to have an audition for a movie or a modeling job or something. And then so he can see a bunch of ladies at once.
Gross, but okay. Yeah.
So he takes a liking to one of the ladies, and she's very quiet and ladylike and kind of mysterious, but she is not who you think she is.
Not at all, yeah.
It's a very disturbing, gory at parts.
I remember watching this when I was really young, right? And thinking it was... Because, like, horror to me, scary things to me are jump scares, but also, like, ghost, like, spirits and stuff horror. But now that I think about it, this movie is quite, like, body horror, would you say? It's very gory.
Kind of body horror, psychological a bit.
Is it more along on those lines? Like, if I could if I watch it today, could I handle it? It has nothing to do with ghosts, right? This
nothing to do with ghosts.
Is just insane. And you know, it has a lot to do with like torture and nasty body fluids and everything like that.
I think you could watch it
today. Yeah. Today? Okay. Yeah.
Go watch it today.
No, it's okay. I want to keep my lunch down for the day. It's fine. But anyway, same author.
So this book, on the book, it says a cyberpunk coming of age tale. So it is about two babies that are found in coin lockers and somehow they survive. Both of them are found. They go to an orphanage, later get adopted. So it's kind of, you know, going through their lives. At this point, they're teenagers. Yeah. And the point in the story where I'm at right now. So. Okay. But very dystopian, cyberpunk. Like, I mean, that's what this author writes about usually. So I'm sure it's going to get gruesome, unsettling. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. But coin locker babies are, unfortunately, an actual thing. So that's what I wanted to discuss in this episode. And kind of as a disclaimer, so we will be talking about these heavy topics. And of course, that's not to say that this is a normal thing here.
It doesn't happen, you know, every weekend or you don't see it on the news, you know, every month or anything like that. But it's happened enough times to where there is a term for it. Yeah. And there's been a couple of incidents, regarding
even
it.
Recently. So we're going to talk about what it is and then some news articles we found related to the topic. But of course, we don't want to give off the impression that, stuff involving child abuse and stuff, that doesn't only happen in Japan. We know that.
Of course not.
But this particular thing is a bit unique.
To Japan, because of, I don't know, coin lockers in general. Thing, I mean, we don't have that in the U.S., right? I mean,
sometimes in like bus stations or major train stations, like big city, there might be lockers.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but in Japan, they're everywhere.
Yeah,
like
especially
shopping malls.
Yeah, if you've been here,
bus stations.
Yeah, you see them all over. So okay.
Yeah, so we're not saying that Japanese people are like horrible, violent child abusers.
No. Okay. Yeah. Great disclaimer. Thank you. Okay. Alrighty.
Yeah. So what does the term coin locker baby actually mean?
Well, the term refers to newborns who are placed while alive or dead in coin-operated lockers.
Yeah. So between 1980 and 1990, there were 191 reported cases of infants which died in coin-operated lockers, which represents about 6% of all infanticides during that period. I saw this on Wikipedia, but I wanted to find out where did it actually come from. Yeah. So there is an academic text called Child Abuse and Neglect, published in 1995, and there is a chapter on coin locker babies. So that's where the stat came from.
I see.
You can purchase that chapter. I mean, you could probably get it for free if you're an academic or a student or something. Otherwise, you can pay like $35 or something. But it's like 6 pages.
$35 for 6 pages?
Yeah.
It's okay.
Sorry. Yeah, that's where it came from.
I see.
I mean, you might be wondering, like, because it sounds so
dystopian,
like, bizarre,
too gruesome to be true, almost, right? But is it real?
It is a real thing. So in the 70s, there was a wave of cases in which the bodies of infants were found in lockers in shopping malls and train stations, and that actually inspired this book that I'm reading. This was published in 1980 originally.
Yeah. In the 70s, there was a wave. That's crazy. I want to know what was happening in the 70s that led to so many cases during this specific time period in Japan. 70s, I want to say, I mean, this is me not without any research, right? Before the bubble, but also 70s, right? I'm going to assume, because this was also the case in many countries like the US as well. I think up until, the 70s, very recently, like, for example, women couldn't women didn't have a lot of rights, you know?
Yeah.
In this time.
Until the 70s.
And I assume in Japan as well. And so maybe when it came to, you know, abortion or adoption or things like that, a lot of women felt they didn't have many choices. And I mean, that's what I'm assuming caused this wave, like, as it says, cases in this time period. But yeah. Okay. Going back to recent cases.
Yeah. Recently, in the past 10 years or so. So the first one I have is from June 2021. This is a very short one, so we could... Do you want to read it?
Sure.
Or do you want to switch off?
I'll read it all.
Okay,
so this article was published on June 6, 2021. The title is Baby's Body Found in Shopping Center Locker. In Kamakura, the body of a newborn infant whose gender is unknown has been found in a coin locker at a shopping center at JR Ohuna Station in Kamakura, Kanagawa Prefecture, police said. According to police, the infant's remains were found by a security guard around 2:40 p.m. Friday in the locker at JR Ohuna Lumine Wing, Sankei Shimbun reported. Police said the infant, which was wrapped in a towel, appeared to have been dead for several days. Police said they are examining surveillance camera footage to try and identify the person who placed the baby's remains in the locker. Okay, that was really hard to read.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I'll do the other ones.
Yeah.
So something else recent, September 2018. It's titled Mother Arrested After Leaving Baby's Body in Coin Locker for Years. So I'm just going to summarize this one. We don't need to read the article.
Okay.
What is that ad that popped up?
That scared the shit out of me. Sorry.
It's like this, it looks like a cockroach or something. It's like
a tick. It's like a bed bug. Yeah, it says futondani.
It's like the size of a cockroach.
Yeah, like sorry. I was opening up the article and a big ad about dunny, like bed bugs, came up on my computer screen and it scared me. Okay.
Yeah. No worries though. We don't need to read the whole thing. So just to summarize the situation, a 49-year-old woman in Tokyo turned herself into police and confessed that she left the body of her stillborn baby wrapped in a plastic bag in a coin locker near JR Ugui Sedani Station for 4 or 5 years, moving it between lockers and paying daily storage fees. Authorities arrested her on charges of abandoning a body. The statute of limitations for that is 3 years, but because she had moved it, the relocation constituted a new charge.
Good. Okay.
So, yeah, it seems like she had a stillborn baby, didn't know what to do, and put it in the locker.
Sure, I guess. But also, I'm not, like, saying why, because her action in general of abandoning a body is wrong, but I'm also curious as to why she didn't like bury it somewhere.
Yeah,
in, like, the
I wonder why she
mountains
thought that was the best option.
Yeah, especially because she kept she made it a point to move it around for several years, and then she kept paying. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a few hundred yen a day or something for the locker.
And I mean, already, if you are doing something like this, you're already not in a
good
mental state, to make sense of anything, I guess. So I'm not saying, like, she should have done this or that, but interesting. Yeah. That one is a tough read as well. Yeah. Like, especially for several years, because it's kind of like...
would it decompose a lot?
Yeah,
by that
like
point?
she must... It's crazy because it must have just been so routine to her. I wonder if she's just so, what do you even call it, like disassociated to the point, like she's not even registering it as her baby anymore. I don't know. I don't know what's going through, these people's minds when they do stuff like this, but I don't know. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so the last one that I have, just as an example for this episode, was from early 2023. Where a 33-year-old woman was arrested in Osaka for abandoning a newborn baby's body in a coin locker. So to summarize this one, the 33-year-old woman, a hospitality worker with no fixed address, was arrested in Osaka on suspicion of abandoning the body of a newborn girl, possibly stillborn or deceased shortly after birth, by placing her in a coin locker near Hankyu Juso Station in January 2023. The company that manages the coin lockers at the warehouse, they were inspecting like unclaimed luggage. Yeah, stuff where like the time period of the locker had expired, so they take it to the lost and found or something, and an employee noticed a strange smell coming from one of the bags and found it. abandonment.
Yeah, this one like hits really, I don't know, not close to home for me, but like because
It says
the lady
the gender of this one.
Yeah, it says the gender. The lady in this case is just a couple years older than I am at the time this was happening, right? So we're basically the same age. We're both in Osaka, and like baby girl is like, oh, you know. So again, we don't know like everyone's situation. I'm not defending this lady at all. It's very wrong that she did this, but I don't hope something bad happened to them to where like they felt like they needed to do this. But you know what I mean? Sometimes
you just wonder why.
You just
like,
wonder
what
why.
led them to think that was the best
decision.
decision.
Yeah. Sometimes, you know, unfortunately, a lot of babies are born as a product of unwanted assault, incest, things like that. And so I understand people feeling the need to give their baby up, but it is really sad that they have to go to an extreme like this. Like, I just want to know, why they felt there weren't other options, or, you know, like what led them to do this? Because this is seriously the most extreme thing you can do to an infant, you know? Yeah.
Unfortunately for these stories, they don't really explain the background of the person. So, yeah. When I was researching this episode, I had assumed, because things like CCTV are everywhere now, I just assumed that it didn't really happen so much these days.
Yeah.
But I Googled in Japanese, like, infants that were found in lockers. And there was a lot that came up, especially on YouTube, like news stories. So I can insert the screenshots, but it was
a lot. It's like kept scrolling amount.
Way more than I expected. So that is,
I, again, very, very curious, because not to like sound like I'm trying to be a professional on how to get rid of a body or anything, but like there's, I don't know, there's just so many ways involving like, you can bury it or something. I just want to know why the coin locker, it's such a public place. Like you said, CCTVs everywhere. It costs money. You know, like it's bound to be discovered at some point. And
That's true.
Yeah.
But I think I was reading somewhere that there's kind of some anonymity to it, because they're probably not going to be found quickly.
Yeah. I mean, especially if you're, you know, disposing the body, for example, somewhere like Shinjuku Station, right?
Yeah.
And you're wearing a mask and a hat or something.
People,
yeah. That's true.
Yeah. So I think that's part of it, but that doesn't really explain why they, I don't know.
Okay.
I also found this article from the New York Times from 1973.
Oh,
I was talking about
during that peak, yeah,
talking about infanticide through the ages leading up to coin locker babies.
Oh, okay.
And something new that I learned from this article was for population control during the Edo period, so around 1603 to 1868, farmers killed their second or third sons upon birth in what was called mabiki, an agricultural term that originally meant thinning out.
Ooh.
Usually the daughters were spared because they could be married off, sold as servants or prostitutes, or sent off to become geisha, professional entertainers. But in northern Japan alone, between 60,000 and 70,000 cases of mabiki were recorded each year.
Oh, shit.
When Japan began to modernize in the latter third of the 19th century, mabiki was prohibited by law.
Yeah. Interesting.
So I'm sure historically Japan is not the only place that did this practice.
Yeah.
Because, usually, you know, the eldest son gets the family business or whatever.
Yeah.
But those were dark ages all over the world.
That was a big number. Yeah, and especially because, you know, I knew about, for example, daughters being sold off because families couldn't afford to feed them and stuff. I mean, if you watch...
Still happens today.
And like if you watch like Demon Slayer, for example, that's like what one of the whole arcs is about, you know, like the yuukaku yuukaku arc.
The entertainment
entertainment district and stuff, like that's what all that is,
There's another character on Demon Slayer whose backstory has to deal with this specifically. But I'm not going to talk too much about it because it's one of the last
it's like a future
characters that you get background on.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
But when you see it in the future.
Yeah. I'll keep it in mind.
It is,
Yeah, but so historically, you know, like women and girls, they weren't getting the best, you know, treatment in these cases. So knowing that they got sold as slaves and things like that, not surprised. But I did not know about the mabiki practice at all. That seems very intense, but also, again, for those times, not surprising. I don't know. I don't know how else to word it besides, yeah. Okay.
But it became outlawed eventually.
Good, yeah.
As I'm sure it did all over the world.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah. So also in that article, the infanticide also reached another peak in the late 1940s. After World War II. So it's a very bad time economically. A lot of people experiencing food scarcity.
I see.
And we will talk about that more specifically later in the episode.
Okay.
And then for coin locker babies and infanticide in general in the 70s, they were referring to research and commentary from experts that mentioned things like, as potential causes, rapid urbanization, the shift of extended families living together to nuclear families, as many of the perpetrators in the 70s at least, were mothers in nuclear families. Maybe they couldn't take care of more kids than they already had. Lack of mental maturity in parents, and postpartum depression as some potential factors.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's going to be the biggest one, to be honest. Postpartum depression, yeah.
There's also something called postpartum psychosis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. But what happens to the kids that survive these? Because I didn't know there were survivors of such cases, to be honest.
I think it's highly unlikely that they would survive.
Yeah.
I mean, if they did, they would, I assume, go to an orphanage. So in this book, the boys that were found were sent to an orphanage and later adopted. The orphanage seems like the obvious solution. I don't really know what else would be done if that happened. But again, it's not very likely. So I think this book was kind of a fantasy, like what if situation. Like what if they actually survived? What could happen? But regarding orphanages, this is something that's not really talked about.
Yeah, I don't really know anything about this kind of topic in Japan. Foster care, a little bit. Like foster care and adoption, a little bit, but nothing about orphanages. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to do an episode.
Okay.
At least one. I'm not sure if orphanages could be one episode by itself and then adoption and foster care for another.
Yeah.
But there are, Japan does have orphanages. There are around 600, but a lot of them are overcrowded because the stuff I was looking up is talking about poor conditions and overcrowding in orphanages. So could you read this quick overview according to the Japan Children's Support Association?
Sure. In 2022, approximately 42,000 children were living in alternative care. Only 22.8% of them went into foster care in Japan, which is on the very low end compared to other countries, and the other 77.2% were in the care of an orphanage. Okay. That is a high number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, I think that's something most people don't know or don't think about, like out of sight, out of mind kind of thing.
That's true.
Even native Japanese people.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, I do know somebody who would volunteer at an orphanage. And I wanted to volunteer there as well, but then COVID happened, so they stopped taking volunteers. I would have to look into it again.
Yeah, I want to see if there's something like that I can do as well, because same as you, I remember we talked about like volunteering in a previous episode, and there was one
in regards to the elderly.
Yeah, and there was also a program you could do. I don't think now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think they worded it as orphanage or but alternative home, alternative care, or kind of, the volunteer work I was looking into was just being a kind of offering English lessons or being an English teacher or mentor to children in an alternative care program or something. So it kind of was worded in a way, maybe it was an after school program where they couldn't be at home by themselves or some kind of thing. But now that I'm thinking about it again, I think it was kind of or at least a group home for minors. Let's look into that.
Would like to learn more about that on another episode. So that also made me wonder, does Japan have anonymous birth options? Do they have baby hatches? Kind of no.
Okay.
But there are 2 places with confidential birth options.
Okay.
So the first is GK Hospital in Kumamoto City, and another one, which the hospital is not new, but this birth thing recently became an option earlier this year in 2025, is San Ikukai Hospital in Tokyo's Sumida Ward.
Okay.
So could you read a little bit about GK Hospital?
Sure. GK Hospital first introduced Japan's baby hatch known as the Konotori no Yurikago, Stork's Cradle, in 2007. Since then, 179 infants have been entrusted to GK's baby hatch and 47 have been born through confidential birth arrangements. With a similar facility now operating in the Tokyo metropolitan area, these numbers are expected to increase.
Yes.
Okay.
But I do want to note that it is not completely confidential or anonymous. So the child can access their parents' information at the hospital if they want to upon a certain age. There's a lack of legal framework regarding these cases, which kind of leaves hospitals in a tricky position because they don't know what is legal or not. So yeah, hopefully some boundaries or laws and stuff can be established in the future for those. And I mean, to be honest, like, I know it sounds dark, but the lack of anonymity probably doesn't help in these situations. It's probably a factor as to with the coin lockers. Like, it's very gruesome.
It's very true.
Yeah.
I can't help but think, I don't know, the cases we read earlier in the episode, you know, there was a 49-year-old woman and a 33-year-old woman. So these are, you know, clearly adults. It doesn't matter, you know, how old you are, but I can't help but think also
with a teenager or something?
I can't help but think like how many of these numbers are also just minors and teenagers that have no idea what to do. Because you hear about this a lot in the US, for example, you know, unfortunately pregnant teens who don't know what to do. And so there's a lot of babies found in trash cans or things like that. Or this was kind of a cultural cultural difference that my husband didn't know about was, you know how, at least in movies, it's really common to leave babies on the doorstep of like a church or a fire station and stuff. And we were watching something and that happened. And I mean, I knew that was like what was happening there. And my husband had no idea why they were just being left outside like that. And I guess, it's not so common practice here.
So actually, speaking of stuff like this in the US, because I guess the US version would be
the doorstep
doorstep or the trash.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Yeah. Sadly, the trash.
So one of my mom's childhood friends,
Yeah.
her niece was left in a dumpster and she found her and raised her as her own.
Okay, well, I'm glad, you know, she was found and raised by a loving, you know, guardian and everything. But it's just, again, as someone, I know maybe someone out there is thinking, how could you even talk about this after having a baby? But it is really heavy and hard to talk about, but it's just so, I don't know. I maybe this episode you'll notice I don't really have that much to say, but it's because I'm at a loss of words, to be honest.
There's not much to say about it. Like,
I don't know how to articulate my feeling into words at this moment.
It's just so sad that with the lack of options that somebody would feel that they need to do this. But so going back to Japan, like it's really great that these two hospitals are offering this thing. Yeah. But in the entire country,
that's crazy.
Of 124 million people, only 2 hospitals offer this. Yeah. And if you don't live anywhere near Kumamoto City or Tokyo.
The Tokyo one kind of gives me hope, right? Because there's so many people in Tokyo and you're kind of like, okay, well, at least there's that option there for all of those people who reside in or near the Tokyo area. Kumamoto? Like, who is there, you know?
I'm surprised Kumamoto was the first.
Honestly, good for them. But I would at least hope, for example, you have the Tokyo, Osaka even, or maybe Hokkaido. I don't know, like just places that are kind of more city, I guess, and spaced evenly throughout Japan. Again, Kumamoto is all the way where, like, west? Kyushu. And then you have Tokyo here. So there's those two options so far apart from each other, which, I mean, I guess they cover different ends of Japan, but still not enough, clearly.
Yeah. But the Kumamoto one started this program in 2007, and the Tokyo one was April 2025. Well,
again, so recent. Like
the article was from April, I think.
Too recently. Yeah. Even 2007 is a little too recent. Yeah.
So I really hope more hospitals will have these options for people so they don't feel as desperate and unsure of what to do. Yeah. So, I mean, this is not more light-hearted, but kind of on a similar note. So, yeah.
There are some movies that are based off of, not coin locker babies in these two movies we'll talk about, but just child abandonment in general. I think I've mentioned them in previous episodes. One of the movies is called Nobody Knows, or Daremo Shiranai. And this is based on a real case that happened in Tokyo. It's called the Sugamo child abandonment case.
I think I've heard of
Have you heard of the case or the movie?
The case,
okay.
Not the movie.
Yeah, so I didn't know this was a real case until I saw the movie, actually. And for this case and the next case I'm going to talk about, I just went down a rabbit hole of kind of dark movies and then found out about the real life cases later. But this situation happened in 1988 in Tokyo's Toshima ward, where basically, a single mother abandoned her 5 young children for months. And besides the oldest child, I believe, none of them were registered into Japan's system at all. You're supposed to, when you have a baby in Japan, you go to City Hall within 2 weeks of their birth and you register, aka, you register their name, their date of birth, everything. So they are, a citizen of Japan, essentially. And besides the first child, these children are just, in this case, labeled as child A, B, C, D, and E. So besides child A, the rest of them were unregistered. None of them attended school. And so I think in the movie as well, when they kind of moved around from apartment to apartment, when they greeted their neighbors and stuff, only the oldest child was allowed to kind of be outside in the public with the mother. And then all of the younger children were just expected to stay home, hidden, essentially. And they kind of really knew nothing else, I guess. But later in 1987, the mom met, a man. She got a new boyfriend and placed her oldest child A, in the to care for the rest of her kids. And she just went off with this man, essentially. And to summarize the whole incident, based on a tip from the landlord, Sugamo ward officials entered the apartment and they discovered that child A was severely malnourished. Child A, B, and D were severely malnourished. And they also found the body of child C, but they didn't find child E anywhere. But basically the reason for their malnourishment, I mean, they're kids, they can't, buy groceries or cook for themselves.
Child A was 14.
All the time. And I think they were abandoned there for about 9 months or so. So almost a year, they were just left to fend for themselves and kind of rely on food bought at grocery or convenience stores. But again, they had to kind of scavenge for money and everything too. So it makes sense why they were malnourished. But as a result of the news coverage on the incident, the mother turned herself in. Child A's testimony revealed that child E had been killed by a friend of child A, and her body was buried in the woods in Chichibu by him, child A, and their other friend.
All the way in Saitama.
Yeah. And because they were minors at the time, they were sent to reform school just for the involvement in the death. As for the mother, she was indicted for child abandonment, and she only received a 3-year sentence.
That's it.
And suspended for 4 years. So although child A was probably not present at the time of his sister's death, he did assist his friend in burying the body. So he was indicted for abandoning a body. But after the mother's 3-year sentence was up, she regained custody of the 2 daughters.
That really blows my mind. Why would they put the children back in her care?
I don't know. I think that's unfortunately not so uncommon here in cases of abuse and child abandonment and everything. I think a lot of the punishment is, in my opinion, way too light. Yeah. Especially because one of the children died. It's just... it's really, I don't know, frustrating and insane to think about. But if you are interested in this case, the movie came out in 2005, I believe, and it won the Cannes Film Festival. It won an award and everything. It's a really good movie, but sad considering it is based on true events. And the movie also follows the real life event pretty closely. Okay. For the most part. But it's starring, the mother in the movie is Yu sound from Terrace House. She's the older woman that has that raspy voice.
Oh.
Do you know who I'm talking about? One of the commentators?
Where it's like high pitched but raspy?
Yeah, it's her. So she plays the mother in this case. Wow. And the oldest child is played by, he was 14 at the time, Yagira Yuya. He's the main guy in Carnival and Asakusa Kid, if you're like familiar with Japanese movies. Great actor. But anyway, I highly recommend watching that movie.
Okay.
Yeah. And another movie we have that was based on a real life case here in Japan is called Sunk into the Womb, or Shikyu ni Shizumu in Japanese. And this is based on the Osaka child abandonment case. Mm-hmm. And similar to the Sugamo case, just to summarize, basically a single mother in Osaka, she sealed the apartment door shut, abandoning her 3-year-old daughter and 1-year-old son inside. And her reasoning was that she was just tired of raising the two of them alone. Mm-hmm. I think she just reached a mental breaking point. And abandoned them inside. And unfortunately, neighbors heard the crying children over like many weeks, but they just, kids cry and stuff. So I think, unfortunately, they just thought, they weren't aware of what was happening. So they didn't report it or anything, but they noticed it eventually subsided. And, they just thought like, oh, okay, they're out of their like crying phase or whatever, like nothing to really think about. But since the mother didn't come back to work for several days, a colleague went to her place and noticed a strange smell coming from the apartment. And so they called the police. And when the police entered the apartment, they found the 2 children dead there. So actually, social workers attempted to stop by the apartment several times over the course of this happening, but no one was home. And I don't think the kids, maybe the mother instructed the kids to like, don't answer the door for anyone. I don't know why they weren't making noise like when someone came by, but they were also very little, Yeah. But yeah, no one knew that the children were just trapped in this apartment for that long. The mother was arrested in 2010, and she just said, like I said, she wanted free time for herself, and she was tired of feeding and bathing the 2 children. She was sentenced to 30 years in prison for the murders.
Very different from the other case.
And she's still in prison to this day. So I'm I know they're not completely the same, abandoning your 5 kids where they're not any better, but like only one of them died versus intentionally because she locked these 2 in the apartment and they're only 3 and 1. So there's no way they could fend for themselves. So I understand how they're different in those cases, but still 30 years versus 3 years.
3 years.
Make it make sense, but yeah. I watched both of these movies before I had a kid and before I was even thinking about having children, and so I'm sure my mindset at the time watching those versus if I were to watch them today would be very different. But just thinking about both of those movies is really heartbreaking to me, especially the Osaka one, because 3 years old and 1 year old.
That's so young.
Yeah. And the way that movie is filmed, the Sunk into the Womb one, a lot of the camera work is like very low to the ground because they're so small, those kids. And so it's kind of in the point of view of those kids and at the eye level of the 3-year-old, at least because she's walking around, and it's so sad. It's really, really sad. Yeah. But I was kind of curious, I know you did research about like what like causes these cases. I know Japan doesn't have the best, I guess, policies about confidential birth and things like that. But I was also kind of curious, does the abortion policy in Japan have anything to do with this?
How's that work?
Yeah, just a quick Google search, because I was kind of curious, is it legal? Like, and abortion is legal in Japan under the Maternal Protection Act. But, you have to do it before the 22nd week of pregnancy, unless you have any other, harmful things that will affect your health and stuff past that time. It's also legal in cases of rape or incest. Usually, this one kind of blows my mind. Like, spousal consent is generally required, but
so I had to look that up because I was like, well, what if you're not married? So in those cases, you don't need the permission of the partner. So
if you're
even
not
if you're
married.
even if you're in a long-term relationship with somebody. But if you're married, you need your spouse's permission, which is like, what?
Even, I don't know. I was going to say, I get it if you're married, but no, that doesn't make sense to me, actually. I don't think that should be a thing at all.
What if the woman doesn't want the baby and the man is like, no, you'll have the kid? Or if there's, assault
or abuse happening, of course he's gonna force
her to have the kid.
And the cost of abortion in Japan, it's not covered by Japanese health insurance, and it can range from 150,000 to 250,000 yen, so roughly $1,000 to $1,600 USD, depending on the clinic and the stage of pregnancy. So again, I don't agree, but I understand why some people might feel like they don't have any options because maybe they financially aren't able to, take care of any unwanted children and things like that. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that because I feel like they correlate in some way. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, when I first started doing TikTok, I did a little mini series about true crime.
So I remember. Yeah.
So one of these cases actually had to do with why abortion became illegal in Japan. So
illegal. Became legal in Japan.
Legal.
Okay. I was like, what?
Did I say legal? I meant became legal.
Okay.
So yeah, not so fun, depressing fact. So there was a lady named Miyuki Ishikawa, now nicknamed the Demon Midwife. So this was post-World War II. Okay. So I mentioned earlier in the episode that time, it was a dark time, food scarcity, a lot of families experiencing poverty. There was no birth control, and there was still a baby boom. Yeah. So Miyuki was a nurse and a director of the ward at a maternity hospital in Shinjuku, and she and her husband convinced parents to pay them to leave their unwanted infant in their care. The babies were neglected and malnourished. Most of them died from starvation and dehydration. And there was a doctor that falsified death certificates for a commission.
Ew.
Yeah, for each one. Yeah. So they were caught because someone found the bones and remains of 5 infants, and then they found more after that. So while they were doing this, between 103 and 169 infants died in their care. And she ended up serving 4 years. Only half of her initial sentence.
That's it?
Yeah. The husband and the doctor served 2. And it was not even for neglecting the children and causing their deaths. It was for soliciting money.
Okay. All right.
So, yeah, as I said, depressing, not so fun fact.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was one of the reasons why abortion became legal.
Good.
I mean, of course, I don't think the families that left their children in their care knew what was going to happen to them.
Of course not. We're not saying that we're blaming them at all. But, wait, so what was her reasoning behind convincing these parents to, let them leave their infants in her care and stuff? Because it's not like she was... Money?
Yeah, because they got paid by the families.
That's it?
I guess.
What? Sorry, I'm just trying to
I know, there's no reason why someone would do that.
I'm just trying to process my emotions. Yeah. I know for a podcast, it's not wise to just have moments of silence and stuff like this, but I'm just truly...
I cannot think of any...
Yeah, in shock.
Horrible.
Yeah. I mean, how did you find out about this case? I know you had a true crime series, so were you just kind of...
I think I was just looking up infamous cases, or maybe I was looking for serial killers.
Oh, okay. I mean, she is a serial killer in this case. Too bad she only got, prosecuted for soliciting money. That's insane. I wonder what happened to her after that, after she got out. I hope the public or, her neighbors, I don't know, threatened her and made her life hell every day after that because, I don't know, people who intentionally harm kids and babies and animals and all that, I don't get it. I know that's
no forgiveness for you.
Yeah, there's a lot of psychology and things behind it, and that can be a talk for another time, but I will never understand how that can happen.
Yeah. So very sorry to you too. Your postpartum.
Yeah, that was a really heavy one. I'm gonna go home and like hug my baby, and yeah, I'll just never leave her side for the rest of my life. Yeah, that was really hard to talk about, but I'm glad we did, in the sense of, you know, spreading information about such cases that deserve to be known, I think. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for listening and watching. Thank you for participating in this.
Thanks.
Yeah. But don't worry, next time we're back to funny, funny, silly, goofy stories.
Yeah. This might be our most intense one to date.
This
probably.
Is the heaviest topic we have covered so far. But it is a thing that happens. So spreading awareness about that
needs to be done.
Yes.
Okay. Well, anyway, thank you for making it to the end of the episode.
Yep.
We'll see you in a much happier episode next week.
Okay.
But please take care of yourself, and hope you have a great rest of your day.
Have a great day.
Okay.